win, lose or draw, like it's not based on us winning. I think I could be dragged into that tattoo sort.
Hello and Kate Mina Fáilte to MudderRucker, the podcast all about Irish women's rugby. Join me, Ailbhe O'Nolan.
And me, Cianan Willor.
As we bring you the latest on the Irish women's team, from squad selections to match analysis and everything in between.
If you enjoy the show, be sure to follow, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us to grow.
Now, strap on your scrum cap, get stuck in, and let's talk Irish women's rugby. Welcome to MudderRucker, the only podcast dedicated to Irish women's rugby. This is our first bonus episode. We are here to discuss all things about the AIL final coming up next Sunday in the Aviva Stadium. I'm delighted to be joined by two incredible guests. First up, the backbone of Railway Union success, long-serving captain and player who embodies the professional approach, Niamh Byrne. Welcome, Niamh.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Also joining us is Ireland legend, two-time championship winner, including that famous Grand Slam in 2013, arguably the very fabric of all things Munster and UL, as a player, and now as their head coach, Fiona Hayes. Welcome.
Jesus, that was a great intro. I don't know about the legend, but thanks a million.
Yeah, absolutely are in my books anyway. So looking forward to the final at the weekend in the Aviva. It's the second time we're going to be in the Aviva for the AIL final. Last year, Ailbhe came out victorious with a 48-38 victory in what was the exact same fixture essentially last year. Railway arguably probably set the standards of the professionalism of the AIL and the game. Have been in a number of finals over the last few years. I think 5 on the trot now, I believe. What is it about Railway that makes you so successful, Niamh?
Oh God, well, let's wait till next Sunday before we would say success. No, I think, to be honest, I think John Cronin and Mike and our team have done a very good job of kind of bringing as much of a professional setup as you can to amateur game. So we've S&C, we've a gym, we get fed after training 1 night a week together. And we've kind of tried to bring in as much structure as you can. And I think it's kind of paid off since we set up 11 seasons ago. So it's kind of been building, and we're beginning to see the kind of benefits and outcome of our efforts.
Fiona, coming to you, looking at UL Bows as a team, the most successful team in the AIL, what is it that drives your success and drives your culture within the team?
So I suppose the success of the club originally was built on, that connection with UL. I think it was, the likes of Fee, Coughlin, Link Cantwell, all those, they originally actually set up, the team in UL, and then they founded that connection with UL Bows, Louise Beamish as well. So, I think they would base their success on those early days, building from such I suppose, same as Railway, building at the start, and the club were very backing of them. I came in a couple of years into that. I think I was maybe 20. So yeah, geez, a long time ago, 22 years ago. So I kind of became involved around then, but they'd already built a great culture. They'd won, I think, a couple of AILs before that as well. So at the start, it was just that connection among how Niamh said, like how the athletes were being treated in the club was very different to other places because they wanted to start out on the right foot. And then now, I suppose the culture that we're trying to drive is probably at the minute one of the few successful teams outside of Dublin, so outside of that kind of Leinster setup. So we've been tipping away. There was a couple of years there while I was playing, where near the end of my career where things weren't going well. You know, there was an onslaught of retirements. So we had to build that up again. The last couple of years, things haven't been going great either. I came back in, I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and just trying to build that culture around my whole take on playing and enjoying rugby, I suppose, is the biggest thing for me, because And I don't know if Niamh agrees with this. It's from my own perspective, having played with Munster, having played with Ireland. When you get to Munster, there's a level of pressure added. When you get up to Ireland, there's another level even added on top of that. If you can't enjoy your club rugby and play shackle free and have somewhere to go back when the stresses of those two places are now, I suppose, the Celtic Cup or the Clovers or Wolfhounds, whatever they're called, I just feel like club rugby is a place to go back and find why you love the game. So I try and install those values there at the minute, I suppose.
You strike me as somebody who not only enjoys the game, but it's an obsession to you. You know, do you get into a Munster bed? Is there Paul O'Connell pajamas? Yeah. You know, is it just everything for you?
Absolutely. I don't go outside the door unless there's a bit of red somewhere, you know, or I do. I love it. But I will say the last year, like not going in depth into it, I've embedded myself so much into it that I'm going to have to take a step back, I think, for a little bit just to get that love back for the game, because I loved it so much. I'm trying to get commentating in it. I was playing it. I never took a break. Now I'm coaching, commentating, watching. I adore watching. I adore going to games. So I'm absolutely embedded in it. I adore it. I love everything about the game. But I suppose just even on the show, it's the AIL. Yes, I coached Munster last year, but it's the AIL that I adore because it's that grassroots. It's having those people from the start, building them up to go on and see them become great things. So yes, there is, and it is certainly all Munster down here. I'm looking out my window and I can kind of see the top of Thomond Park from my parents' house, so it's not too far away at all.
Before we go deeper into the club roots and histories, here's Lindsay Peat with a powerful reflection on what makes this competition and this final truly special.
For someone who never struggles with something to say, I'm struggling to share exactly what it means to play in an AIL final. But if I was to try and sum it up in one word, it would be special. It's ridiculously special to get to play in the National Stadium, the home of Irish rugby. It's only the second time that the women's AIL final will be played in the Aviva as part of a double header. Some of my teammates I get the privilege to call friends. I've playing with them 10 years. We've been through thick and thin. The same with members of our coaching staff. We've been through an awful lot and I know them a long time. So to get to experience this journey and the return to the Aviva with those people makes it extra special. But we are a unique club. You either fit in or you don't. Some of the recruits that we've had this year have just, you couldn't imagine how they were going to add to the culture and the value and the standards of our team. But, they've surpassed our expectation, and it's just been a fabulously enjoyable year of rugby, and we would love nothing more to get to the Holy Grail and bring home that trophy against Bows, which we know is going to be a huge task considering they're the kingpins of Irish women's club rugby, and they have 13 titles to their name, so they're ridiculously experienced and they're a very talented team. But very proud that we made that promise and we've gotten back there, and we will absolutely do everything to make sure we're right the result this year. So I suppose it's a finish as one of the more senior, and I'll put that in bold. As time goes on, you realise that it is a privilege to play in a final. Not every club, not every team, not every athlete gets to play in a final of any sort. So to be there and feel like it just hits different, your jerseys are hung up. You are there like a pro and an international for a day, and you know how to get how the elite athletes live week in, week out. So it's very special, but even more so when you get to deal with people that mean an awful lot.
Niamh, as somebody who's captained Railway for so many years, are we at 6 years at the moment?
5 years.
5 years. How do you keep your standards up, and how do you keep driving for more each year?
No, I think it's a good question, and I'd say Jesus, people are sick of my voice at this point, but I think I guess it's quite cyclical in that we've had kind of constant turnover of people. We've had a lot of younger girls come in this year who've kind of brought back in that energy. And I think to kind of what Fiona Hayes was talking about with culture, it's being the kind of the guiding post and trying to shape what we want to keep and keeps us as Railway going, and then letting those young girls come in and kind of really fully immerse themselves and bring the energy, the excitement, and kind of reinvigorate all of us. So it's a balancing act between taking everyone from our old veterans down to the 18-year-olds, but it's getting there, and I think it's exciting, and it's been a good year of gelling.
Let's hear from someone bringing that new energy, Aoife Corey, with a glimpse into her journey and how she's feeling ahead of Sunday.
Right, I'm here in the Aviva Stadium with Aoife Corey. Welcome, Aoife. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. A few quick questions for you. So what's your relationship with rugby and where did it all begin?
It all began in NSRFC when I was about 16 years old. My dad was very involved with the club. He was president at the time, and my two brothers both played. So when they started off the NS team, I said I'd give it a go, and that's how my journey started.
Addiction instantly?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, loved it. It was nice to, I was pure GA head when I was younger. So it was nice when the summer came around, I played the GA, and then when the winter came around, then I could play the rugby. So best of both worlds. So I did, and now it is.
Absolutely. What does the AIL mean to you as a competition?
I think the AIL means a lot. I think it's really, really important, especially in the pathway of women's rugby at the moment. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met half the people I know today unless it was for the AIL. I think it's really important in women's rugby. You can see the likes of a lot of young ones coming up and playing the AIL and going through the pathways as well and getting into Irish squads. I think it's really important, that platform to have for young girls.
So looking to the final on Sunday, how do you handle nerves going into such a big game?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's nice that we've already kind of had it last year, the exact same occasion. I think I like a bit of peace and quiet in the morning, and then going into it, I love being around the girls, and I think it's nice to have the distraction as well. It's very exciting all the same. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate between the nerves and the excitement. But yeah, no, it's a massive day, and of course the nerves are there. The nerves are here now already, but yeah, no, it's hugely exciting as well.
2 tries last year. Hat-trick this year?
Hopefully. All going well, yeah. No, look, last year it was a really tough game. It was very tit for tat, and we'd score, they'd score, and we were lucky to come out on the better side of it. So hopefully, yeah, loads of tries again this year, and hopefully be a very good game as well.
Great. What's your most memorable day in a rugby jersey, final or otherwise?
Oh, I have to say the final last year, that was the one day that would always stick out in my rugby career from when I started to now, that it was just a perfect day. The weather was beautiful. It was a great team. We had a great win. We had a great day back home in Limerick then as well. So yeah, and with that one will always stick out, I think.
I can imagine the bus trip home was fun.
It was fun, but I was actually on placement the next day, so I was on my best behaviour. I was very tame.
I can imagine there's a lot of pee stops on the way home.
Absolutely, yeah.
One last question for you then. If you could be any other player on your team for a day, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh, wow, that is a great question. I think I'd have to go with Chloe Pearce. I would love to see a day in the life of her, and even just be inside her brain and her rugby brain, and yeah, just even being a forward for a day. I'd love to give that a go too.
Fiona, for you, last year success on the first ever game in the Aviva, is there pressure to do that again?
No. I would have felt a lot more pressure last year. I felt we had kind of created this whole storyline behind this season, and I'd be big on theming. So we had a very big focus on Rocky, with the focus being Rocky is one of the greatest underdogs of all time, and just different things attached to that. We had a death in the club as well of someone that was just huge for us. So I almost, as for myself, towards the final time, I would have taken a lot of pressure on doing something for him and winning this for him. It was huge for us to drive that home, but certainly this year, absolutely not. I don't think there's pressure on. I think that was huge for us to win it. The thing now is to take the pressure off the girls' backs. we've been beaten twice this season by Railway, so you always look at that as well. Do you know what I mean? So they're sitting in the driving seat. Yes, we have the cup, but it's a battle between us. So it's, you know, there's nothing. It'll go either way, but I think it'll be a tight game. So it's just about trying to get the best performance out of the girls. And I honest to God, this year don't feel as much pressure, and I would imagine they're similar as we probably put on ourselves towards that last week in particular, going towards that game day. Yes, we hit it in different ways, but it was huge for us to win on the back of what we'd built all season, whereas we've a different path this year. Obviously it is the aim, but last year I think it would have been a big, huge disappointment for us if we didn't.
Niamh, for you, 100% record across the regular season, coming into the final and dealing with, I suppose, the pain of losing last year and a repeat game, essentially. Does that add pressure, or does that drive you and fire you?
A little bit of both. So a little bit of pressure, because I think ultimately you'd like to end that day on a high. You'd like to lift that cup. But I do think... you know, like I don't think we had a really good standard week. I think that's lovely, but I think we're now playing knockout rugby and things can change. It can be a good day for one. It can be someone can get a stroke of luck, a bounce of a ball, and that is what it'll come down to. I hope it'll be a close game. Obviously, kind of aim of both teams will be to walk away successfully. But I think when I think back to last year, it was an exciting game. There was 10 points in it by the end. And you had people who never, like, people would stop you in Sandmount Village and say, Jesus, you know, it was good. It was good to watch, and it was really exciting. And I think even looking at the semis last week, which were, you know, streamed, there was a bit more interest around it. They were good games, and people who weren't previously on your sideline are stopping you to say, that's exciting. I want to come and see more of it. And I think, obviously, team-wise, you'd love to lift the cup, but I think that's the success and the interest, and it will hopefully be an exciting day for everyone.
So the AIL, you talk about their, you know, community and, you know, people in Sandymount coming to you and approaching you and talking about the rugby. I think community for the AIL is a really, really big thing. It's I suppose somewhat a parochial kind of a drive for the sides. Coming to you, Fiona, what is it about being a Robin that matters to those players? Is it playing individuals? Is it winning cups? Or is it almost a sisterhood of people?
I like, not being cheesy, I actually do feel like it is a sisterhood. As I said, I'm seeing more and more pressure being put on these girls as they try and reach higher levels of rugby. So I find when they come back to club training, even if they've been away for a couple of months, they look like almost a weight has been lifted off their shoulders for that hour and a half. Having their friends. Yes, I do run, I do run a training session. We would have time. We obviously have session plans, but if things stray or if things happen, we'd be very easy going along that. So, you know, I can try and get that balance of getting it right, but also you still want to keep standards and coach, and you want them to learn something as well. You know, you want them going away just saying I had a laugh at training, but certainly from looking at my players, I think it's that sisterhood of being able to come back, enjoy it. Once the match starts, I do believe, and Niamh will be the same, I do believe there's a intense desire to win. And if they played really well and came off and lost, I don't think they're happy. So, like, let's call it a spade a spade. That is there as well, but it's a different type of thing. A club, I think their friends, the enjoyment, the rivalries are all a little bit different than that higher level. And they can wind each other up on match days, and everyone will be the same. But it's that bonding they have, and we'd have a team song as well that they've kind of brought in, where we go in and have a beer or a Capri Sun or whatever, but everyone has to stay, and they'll be banging the roof and banging the walls, and it's just some random Atomic Kitten song that someone recorded for the Eurovision or something. They've taken it as their own, and it's become such a huge part of what they do, and they video it and snap it, and you can see it all over the place, and they love doing that. So it's those little things, I think, that make I suppose local community rugby the best, and that's what I loved about the game as well.
I've seen on Instagram that both sides have got, several players at least have got tattoos. The robin for yourselves down in Limerick, and the choo-choo train for railway. Have you guys got one yourselves?
Do you know what? I got for my present last year, they gave me a voucher for the tattoo store in Limerick, and I haven't had a night out. I've been so busy. So I reckon come Sunday evening or Monday morning, if win, lose or draw, like it's not based on us winning, I think I could be dragged into that tattoo store at some stage to use the voucher they gave me last year.
Has to be done. Niamh, have you got one?
No, I'm petrified of needles, guys. I absolutely couldn't. Railway, but not in a tattoo.
And then we can get you one of those irons we can sit on. You know what I mean? Don't need the bottom there.
I'll fake tattoo it for the day.
But we'll get you a catalogue of them so you can put them on every day for training and matches.
While the pressure might feel different, the commitment to get there has been years in the making. Here's Railway's Molly Boyne.
My name is Molly Boyne and I play for Railway Union RFC. The AIL final means a huge amount to me. When I was thinking during pre-season of what my goals for the season would be, being in the Aviva on Sunday was definitely one of them. It's been a massive effort from all of the players, coaching staff, management, S&C coach, physio, executive committee, family and friends to get us to this point. And so we're so excited with the opportunity to go out on Sunday and end our season in style. It's not just been this year though, it's been several years and seasons and a lot of work that's gone into this to get us to this point. From every player who's played in a Railway jersey to every mum and dad on the sideline and every coach who's put us through our paces. So it really is the culmination of a huge amount of work, and we're very lucky to have so many people supporting us. I had the opportunity to go and play with Leinster and the Wolfhounds this season, and coming back to play with Railway really felt like I was coming home. We have a huge sense of family and a great culture in the club, and I think you can see that both on and off the pitch. We really work hard for each other, and everyone who is there is fully committed to the club and to each other. So hopefully now we'll go out on Sunday and end our season with some silverware, but regardless of our success on the pitch, we know that we're a very successful team off the pitch because of the great environment and culture that we foster of learning and development and pushing each other on, and always striving to keep pushing the bar in women's rugby and in women's sport in Ireland. So I hope everybody comes out and supports us on Sunday and that we come away with the win. But regardless, I'm just so excited with the opportunity to play with this club and to go out and play with a smile on my face with some of my best friends.
So just looking ahead to Sunday then, Niamh, what's the squad looking like?
I would say good old Mike and JC have a bit of a headache. I think we hope to obviously have a strong 23 out. I think that decision will probably be made later this week, tomorrow or Wednesday. But I think good mix of young and old, but all excited and kind of raring to go.
Fiona, everybody looking fit and ready for Sunday as well on your side?
Yeah, no surprises. I'd say it's a similar squad. We've had kind of the same numbers out, to be honest with you, since after Christmas. So I actually don't have too many headaches. Last year I had a good few. This is kind of, I suppose, is kind of picking itself. You're probably the same, Niamh. We'd be waiting on Jane. Jane was a travelling reserve with Ireland this year, or Ireland this week. So if she goes over Scotland as a travelling reserve, we probably won't have her. You'd be the same with Molly if selected again. Yeah.
So the Aviva as a venue to play in, obviously you've played there once before. I think last year was the third ever women's game that was held in the Aviva. Is it an intimidating venue to play in?
Like a little bit. I think you take that moment when you first walk out and it's, huge. It's really wide, big pitch. But ultimately, I think when the whistle goes and the first ball's kicked, where you could be anywhere. But it's nice. It's nice that it's special and it's kind of aligned and moved into the Aviva to match the men's, I think.
Fiona, yourself, is it an intimidating venue for you?
So I was lucky. I played there once with Ireland. I came on as a sub in that Italy game, so that was unbelievable at the time. To see your face. So for me, I'm coaching now, but for the girls and to see their face on the big screen, I think is just something special. You know, when they come up with the numbers and everything. Now there might only for cheering your name, but it's the thought that counts. But yeah, it's special. I feel like it's such a huge arena. The grass is unbelievable, but I think that adds to the excitement of the day, and to know for us as well that, you know, like I said it last year, like you're playing, like they haven't played there since I played in Italy. Like you're playing AIL and the Irish women don't even get to play on this pitch. So like enjoy it, lap it up, and you know, that's what club rugby about. It's absolutely brilliant that it's been brought there and these girls get to experience that stadium, that atmosphere. It's so cool, and I suppose it's different this year, but last year as well, the old jacuzzi and the big hot tub inside the changing room, the home dressing rooms, they were absolutely blown away with that, because I think we finished first last year, so we got the home dressing rooms, and I've never seen anything like this, like a big water kind of pool almost inside there. So they all went crazy and that with a few cans after the match. So to even do that was something special.
I'd say it must be a really kind of an intense feeling when you're used to, you know, people standing on the sideline very close to you in your club when you're home or you're away, and then suddenly there's stands and they're towering over you. But it's great to hear that there's a bit of luxury that goes with it too.
The Aviva might be familiar territory for some, but it's still a stage that demands your focus. Here's what Claire Bennett and Ailsa Hughes had to say about stepping out under those lights.
Playing in the Aviva is a really, really exciting opportunity. I mean, it's one of the top stages of Irish sport, and I suppose learning from last year, maybe the pitch itself might feel a little small, but the platform and the theatrics of the stadium all add to the occasion. It might be hard not to feel a little bit out of place with all that, but then you kind of take a step back and remember how hard we've all worked and to get here, and that we're representing the top division of club rugby, and then it gets fun again and exciting.
Playing in an All-Ireland final is always something really, really special. Especially getting to play in the Aviva Stadium, getting to play in front of my family and represent them and hopefully do them proud. But also I think Railway has been home for the last 10 years, and I'm so excited to take the pitch with all of my friends. And as cringy as that might sound, but I'm so excited to take the pitch with all my friends and show the hard work and all the determination that we've done, not just this year, but over the last number of years. So I'm so excited. Bring on Sunday.
So looking ahead to the game, who for you, Niamh, are the players to watch, particularly the young and up-and-coming players that maybe someday we might see in green?
So I think there's a lot of good young talent at the minute, and I think it's probably a representation of all of the work that's gone in at grassroots across the kind of country. I think in terms of the kind of younger Limerick players we'd be looking at would be like, obviously Chisholm. Chisholm is who we always keep an eye on out in the wing. I think Kate Fannery's been having a great season or kicking. But I think there's kind of a whole bunch of them that I'm afraid to name people.
You've a lovely little full back, Niamh, don't you? Yeah. There's a lot of talk about her. I can't remember her name. She's a lovely little player.
McCormack, and on our side, she's come in at 15. She's taken that jersey and is very comfortable. She's been electric. It's been really good. And I'd say also probably on our side will be Hannah Scanlon. So she's come in as our out half for the past few weeks. She went away for a week's training and she came back to realise she was going to be starting 10 for the next few weeks. So she's stepped up to that massively and is kind of running the show well there. So I think there's a good mix across both sides.
I love that when I asked that question, the two of you refer to each other's team.
Camaraderie across both sides.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, you've faced each other so many times. You've both been at the top of the AIL for so many years. You'd expect a really intense rivalry, but it's a deep respect for each other, I suspect.
Yeah, and I think it's a rivalry for 80 minutes. And then I think, to be fair, it's always a close game. I think if you've won, of course, there's, it's great if you win. It's not great if you've lost, but after a while, you still get together, you have that pint afterwards and you go again. And I think it's probably our most enjoyable fixture of the year is going down to Limerick, where you're going to get a quality game. There's going to be a physical match and then the pint afterwards together.
As the squads are announced and supporters gear up, Claire Bennett reflects on the commitment that gets a team to this stage.
The AIL is hugely special to me. I think everyone that's involved in rugby in the country knows what it is and recognises it as the highest level of club rugby in either the men's or the women's game. And that recognition and weight that it carries as a competition is massive. It's really special in terms of it's a long season. So from September through the winter all the way out till April, it means that you're working hard for one another, and playing in this league kind of holds us together for the year. And regardless of where we go or where anyone goes, people seem to love coming back to play in the AIL.
Lastly, before we finish up, Niamh, who is your rugby hero?
Do you know, I actually honestly think it's probably going to have to be Lynn Cantwell if I had to pick Irish women's player. I actually met her. She was one of the first people I ever met down in like Ashburn when I was just starting to play rugby. She was the centre, and kind of the fan girling went on from there. So always really great. She'd probably be mine.
I actually, going back to that match that you were talking about, Fiona, when you played Italy in the Aviva, pretty sure that's the day that Lynn Cantwell retired, but also the day that Brian O'Driscoll retired.
You could be right. I the worst memory, you'd probably be better than I would, but that's mad. Yeah. I remember they had like 3 props on the bench because they started like hooker, and they were trying to get us, 2 of us on just to say we played. I just remember there was a load of stuff going on. It was crazy. That's kind of my only memory, and I sacked them all. I was delighted with myself. That was, you don't remember much. You remember you knew one tiny thing. I was like waving to the crowd, delighted with myself, although there wasn't much there. But look, it was all the point of it. But you could be right. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I can't even remember the year. I know it was Goose, so it would have been 2014, the Six Nations in 2014.
2014 or 15, I can't quite remember, but I just remember saying,
Tom was the coach in 2015, so
okay, so it's 14.
Put me on, so I think it was 2014 before the World Cup. Do you know what I mean? But I'd be bad as well. But yeah, that was that was.
I just remember that day because I cried because the best centre that Ireland had ever seen retired, and and Brian O'Driscoll too.
Right. Nice.
Fiona, for you, your rugby hero.
I suppose growing up and stuff, like I loved Paul O'Connell. I loved everything about him, about Munster, about, I suppose, like even for me as a prop, and he wasn't like the player that was everywhere. He was just this tall, strong, athletic guy that just had such heart and desire. So that's what I loved about him. But hero is a stretch for this, but I suppose Fiona Coughlin. Sure. When I would have, I played behind her, I suppose, for a lot of my career with Ireland, and then I played with her in club a lot. But yeah, just even leadership wise, she offered a lot. I hate giving her compliments because, but so I wouldn't stretch the hero, but I'd say she would have had a huge influence on me as a leader, especially as a captain, and just her ability to have every single person on board in a dressing room was unbelievable to me, especially someone from D4. I couldn't understand it. But she did have the ability to just everyone listened, everyone wanted to play the best they could for her and the team, so that was huge.
To round out our reflections, here's Niamh Byrne with her own story, from first steps in Mullingar to leading Railway into another final.
So I'm here in the Aviva Stadium with Niamh Byrne, captain of Railway Union. Hi Niamh, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. I'm
good.
Excited to be here.
Good stuff. So, quick few questions for you. what's your relationship with rugby? Where did it all begin? What has your journey been like?
Oh goodness, the age-old question. I actually began rugby in Mullingar under 18s. So I was one of the first players. The first year they set up the girls' team, was dragged down the first side by some of the boys who were involved and never looked back. Went on, played my senior rugby in Trinity and then with Railway, and kind of dabbled with Leinster 7s and 15s along the way. So it's been a really good journey, and one that never ever would have thought I'd be on, but have enjoyed every minute of it.
And what does the AIL mean to you?
I think it means everything. I think that's where you go back and you're playing with your friends. It's somewhere that you really enjoy spending all of your time, because that's ultimately what it ends up being. And there's no one else I'd rather spend most of my week with.
How do you handle nerves going into a big final like Sunday? What's your routine?
Yeah, so we'll try not to change the routine too much. Stick to exactly what we do. On a Thursday night, we'll have dinner together in the club. We'll all go our separate ways. The only thing that changes for this final is some of us will go and get our nails done together on Saturday, as a little pre-match kind of treat. But trying to stick to this game plan. But it's always hard to not be a little bit nervous when you kind of walk out into Aviva.
A long enough journey in rugby for you. What is your favourite day in a rugby jersey?
Oh, there's been a lot. I think when I think of my Railway journey, my favourite moment was probably winning the first AIL final in 2019. It was my first year captaining the side, and it was the first year we'd ever got to a final. And I still think of all the people in the stand who were almost more happy than us on the pitch, having just kind of come together and seen the journey of Railway kind of culminate with that lifting of the trophy. It's probably a special day.
Last question for you then. It's short and sweet. If you could be any other player on your team for a day, who would it be and why?
I think I'd have to, and I'm going to hate myself for giving her more airtime. No, I'd have to spend a day as Lindsay Peat and just see what it's like, because you go for a coffee with her, people stop her to tell her how fab she is, and just to kind of experience her commentary, her playing, get inside her head for a day. I think it'd be very exciting, intriguing, bit of a different one.
I could imagine being in her head is going to be an intense place.
I feel chaos, but in a good way.
So thank you very much. It's going to be a thrilling battle in the Aviva. You can find tickets to the game at ticketmaster.ie, and we're going to add the link as well to the show notes. Tickets are only €12 for adults, €4 for children, 18 degrees, and hopefully no rain on Sunday. Get your bums in those seats. Alternatively, you can watch the game live on TG Carra from 1:10. A huge thank you to Niamh and Fiona for joining us today, and best of luck to both sides the weekend.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
No worries. From me, thanks for tuning in, and keep on rocking.